Happy holidays, everyone. Today we are talking about Avatar, and no, not the animated wonder Avatar: The Last Airbender that appeared on Nickelodeon. But if we were talking about that, I'd want you to know I'd be part of the water tribe. Hello, Katara, what up? No, today we discuss James Cameron's Avatar, which was released in 2009 with a budget of $237 million. This movie became the highest grossing film of all time, pulling in $2.9 billion. Yeah, I said billion with a B, dollars. So yeah, it did all right, I guess. If billion is a high number to you or whatever, it's... Now we know that the second movie, Avatar: Way of Water, hits theaters December 16th. Now will it be a flop or another huge success? They say that this movie needs to hit at least $2 billion just to break even. It's a lot of ticket sales, and if you're anything like me, you're going to want to grab your ticket and go check it out, but who has time to sit through that first movie again? After all, that movie was 2 hours and 42 minutes long. And it's been 13 years since the original film came out, so I get it if you haven't seen it, but don't worry, we've got you covered. Sit back, relax, we're going to go over it all again, and we're going to talk about it. Let's go. Welcome to the movie tour. My name is Vic. I will be your tour guide through the world of Avatar. Do keep in mind there are definite spoilers on this tour and no smoking is permitted. So hop on the back of a mountain banshee, keep your arms, legs, and hands inside the flight path at all times. Get your ponytails ready and let's go explore the story that happened on Pandora in the year 2154. The film starts off with a ton of exposition by introducing us to our main character, Jake Sully, a former Marine, played by Sam Worthington, who, by the way, was living in his car when he got this gig. Talk about a huge life change. Jake awakens from a 6-year-long nap, a cryosleep they call it. And as he awakens, we see that he's on a ship heading straight for Pandora, which is about 4.37 light years from Earth in the Alpha Centauri system. Pandora is one of 14 moons of the planet Polyphemus. Here we begin to hear a bit of backstory. We learn that Jake had a twin brother who was mugged and shot dead. His brother's name was Tom, and he was a scientist, all set to perform a study and exploration on Pandora. Since Jake and Tom have identical genetics and are identical twins, the company known as the Resources Development Administration, or the RDA as I'm going to call it from now on, because Resources Development Administration is such a mouthful and it's hard to say, and you gotta come up for air after saying that. Anyway, the RDA offers Jake a chance to take Tom's place on the Pandora project. And for good pay, by the way. So they land on the surface of the moon, which is not fit to support human life, by the way, so they have to wear masks or die from the poisonous gas that fills the atmosphere. Upon landing, we learn that the moon is run by a species called the Na'vi, which means the people. And no, not that character.
Look! Listen! Watch out!
The Na'vi, which means the people, are 10-foot blue-skinned humanoids, which James Cameron decided to give the females breasts. I mean, I guess they look hot, so that's cool. Maybe Cameron's a huge fan of Blue Man Group and just wanted to give them girlfriends. I don't know. In order to explore the land, the humans must temporarily transfer their consciousness into the avatars, which are a human and Na'vi hybrid that the scientists have created to help them better blend in with the people there. We also meet some important characters at this point. Dr. Grace Augustine, the head of the team, played by Sigourney Weaver, and Dr. Norm Spellman, played by Joel David Moore. Dr. Augustine literally wrote the book on the Na'vi and just wants to learn all that she can about their kind and their deep connection with all of the nature that surrounds them. We have reached Jake's second day on base, and he's officially able to become the Avatar for the first time. He gets a chance. It's okay. He gets a chance to walk and run for the first time since the war on Earth put him in a wheelchair. It's a beautiful and exciting moment. I didn't cry, you cried, shut up. Next we meet a few more characters. Trudy, a combat pilot played by Michelle Rodriguez, and this guy, Colonel Miles Quaritch, our antagonist. Quaritch offers a deal to Sully, report all that he learns about the Na'vi and their home tree, where the largest supply of unobtainium sits, and the Colonel will then in return get Jake his legs back. Of course, Jake agrees to the terms. Now, unobtainium is the whole purpose for this movie. Yes, a rock named unobtainium that's unobtainable. Clever name, right? Well, this rock is worth millions, and the home tree sits right on top of the largest supply of it, so you can kind of see where the Colonel's eyes are set. The scientists hop in their avatars and head out to get some samples for their research. This is when they get attacked by a Pandorian beast. Jake flees for his life, drawing the beast away from the group. He runs and eventually jumps off a cliff to escape the beast. But Jake isn't safe yet. Later that night, we see that Jake is getting attacked again by the Viper Wolves, and a lot of them. Luckily, a member of the Na'vi helps Jake when it feels like all hope is lost. Her name is Neytiri. She saves him from yet another attack and is saddened that she had to kill so many creatures. They had to die for no reason. Neytiri thinks of Jake as naive and childish, but as she tells him this, floating jellyfish-like creatures float down and land on top of Jake. These creatures are called wood sprites, and they're actually the seeds of the Tree of Souls. Now, according to the Na'vi, the wood sprites are pure and sacred, and they bring forth good omens. So Neytiri sees this as a sign and takes Jake back to meet the clan. Jake meets the chief and the priestess Yudikan and Moat, who also happen to be Neytiri's parents. He's not taken too kindly by them. Or Sute, the heir to the throne and Neytiri's fiance. Moat decides that Neytiri must teach Jake their ways. Neytiri agrees, but it's bedtime for now. So the Space Pocahontas and John Smith go to sleep in this awesome hammocky thing, and I want to take a nap in it because that thing just looks like it cuddles you all the way around and it looks so warm and comfortable and I need it now. Whew. Anyway, there was a lot of content in the world about how the movie and the Disney film Pocahontas had an alarming amount of similarities. And it's kind of true because they're kind of the same movie, but you know, Pocahontas only cost $55 million to make, compared to the live-action Pocahontas at $237 million. But James Cameron actually had a lot of ideas from the 1995 Pocahontas movie. In fact, he initially wanted Qorianka Kilcher to play Neytiri after seeing her in Pocahontas in the New World. But of course, the part was eventually given to Zoe Saldana. She's such a great actor, such a great character. I like her blue, I like her green. She's great as Gamora. I'm so excited she's coming back in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but I'm sidetracked, whatever. Anyway, Jake snaps back to reality and fills in the team on the events that just transpired. The Colonel gives him 3 months to convince the Na'vi to bail on the home tree or face their impending doom. At this point, Jake is almost torn in two. He's dealing with the Colonel who only cares about the financial gain and will stop at nothing to get it. And on the other side, he's dealing with Dr. Grace Augustine, who only cares for the science and understanding the Na'vi and their connection to their moon. Now, Dr. Augustine does grow suspicious of Jake's connection with the Colonel and thinks it's best to transfer the team elsewhere. So they go to this cool floating mountain place, which if you go to Disney's Animal Kingdom in Florida, you can actually check it out. It's pretty awesome. You can even ride on the back of a mountain banshee on the Flight of Passage ride or float through the River Na'vi on the River Na'vi ride. And you get to see the beautiful bioluminescent forest. I highly recommend it. Just go, okay? Just go. Jake uses these 3 months that the Colonel gives him to kind of learn the way of the Na'vi and try to gain their trust. Neytiri teaches him how to hunt, how to survive, how to find a spiritual connection with all the beings on Pandora, including that flying mountain banshee, aka the Ikran. At one point, many of the Na'vi go up to the mountains to try to help Jake gain a bond with one of them, and he manages to conquer one. He bonds with it through his nerve endings in his hair. This process is called Sehelu. Sehelu is a Na'vi word for bond or neural connection. It's a way to communicate, to connect, and to mate. Yes, we find out later that the ponytails are used for mating, which might be why Dr. Augustine says this.
Don't play with that, you'll go blind.
Now, I have done extensive research on the matter, and I have found that doesn't make you go blind. It's just not true, because, you know, I can see that cat over there. Hi, you little pussy cat. Oh, you're so cute. After Jake bonds with the Banshee, Neytiri pushes them off the cliff, forcing Jake to fly the Ikran and complete the bond. They are attacked by the Torek, a feared yet revered dragon. It is said that only 5 Na'vi in history have ever been able to tame this fierce beast and gain that bond. Now, after all is said and done, the Colonel's 3 months are officially over, and Jake returns to ask the Colonel for an extension of time. He wants an extension because he's about to officially become accepted into the Omaticaya clan and fully gain their trust. He wants to wait to ask them to move from the home tree until after the final ceremony. So it happens. These events then transpire, and Jake is now part of the Omaticaya clan. That night, Neytiri and Jake cement their love with a proposal and a kiss beneath the bioluminescent forest. After mating with their ponytails, they fall into each other's arms and fall asleep. The next morning, Neytiri is awakened from the sound of bulldozers closing in. The colonel ignored Jake's request for a time extension. And Jake takes a little bit of time to wake up as he scarfs down some breakfast, but once he does, he wakes up, he attempts to stop the colonel to no avail. Jake and Neytiri race back to the home tree to try to warn the others of their impending doom. They had to leave or they will surely die. Sute attacks Jake, accusing him of mating with his fiancée. Meanwhile, soldiers pull Jake and Grace from their avatars, and back at the base, Jake awakens and lets the colonel know the Na'vi will not relocate and let him destroy the home tree. Grace even steps in and tells the company that the tree is everything to the Na'vi, a neural network that flows all through Pandora, connecting them all together. It must not be destroyed. The RDA doesn't care though. They do, however, give them 1 more hour to get the Na'vi to leave before they attack. So Grace and Jake, they hop in their avatars, and Jake admits to the clan why he was sent there. He wasn't expecting to fall in love. The Na'vi become furious, and they take Jake hostage and refuse to leave the home tree. So it happens. The most devastating and heart-wrenching scene of the movie. The RDA returns, they start gassing them out, and of course, the Omaticaya attempt to fight back. But their arrows don't stand a chance against the heavy machinery. And the machines, well, they fire back towards the tree, knocking it over, crushing hundreds of Na'vi beneath it, including the clan leader, Neytiri's father. Because, of course, it's a Disney movie, a parent figure has to die. Jake finds them among the wreckage and he apologizes, but Neytiri's furious. She just lost her dad. And she tells him to leave and never return. Back at the base, Jake and Grace are deactivated and pulled from driving the avatars again. They are arrested and locked in a cell, unable to do anything about it. But before long, Trudy comes in and busts them out. They steal a helicopter, and in the process, Grace gets shot in the stomach by Quaritch. She's injured badly. Trudy flies them up higher than any of the mountains so the RDA can't reach them easily. Jake hops back into the Avatar and realizes at this point the only way any of the Na'vi will listen to him is if he does something impossible. He has to bond with the Toruk. Now, only 5 Na'vi have ever accomplished it, one of which being Neytiri's grandfather. So, they do that. They find the beast. They solidify the bond. It's really quick, takes like 30 seconds. It really wasn't that hard. I don't understand how only 5 Na'vi have ever done this. So you're going to tell me that no Na'vi can do this, but the guy who's posing as a Na'vi can do it, and it was super easy? Look, my guess is that the 5 Na'vi that did accomplish it were the only ones who ever actually tried. Bunch of pansies, those Na'vi are. Anyway, when he returns to Neytiri on the back of that thing, she is shocked. And of course, he then gains the respect of all the Na'vi once again. Jake asks Sute to join him on the fight against the humans, and he agrees. He also lets the Na'vi know how badly injured Grace is. And in a Hail Mary of an attempt, they try to move Grace's consciousness permanently into the Avatar. But they fail. The wound was too deep and she dies before they could do it. Now, Sigourney Weaver does return for the sequel, but it looks like she's playing another character, like a younger teenager character for this movie. So that's kind of exciting to kind of see how that plays out. Jake and Sute, they gather up many Na'vi from 15 clans. Over 2,000 warriors come back to fight. They learn that the RDA's next plan of attack is at the Tree of Souls. That night, Jake takes some time to pray to Ewa, the deity of the Na'vi. He asks for guidance and help through the upcoming battle. And as morning breaks, the RDA launches the helicopters, and so begins one of the most epic battle sequences I have ever seen in any movie ever, especially if you see it in 3D, and I cannot be the only one on this planet that misses 3D. Comment down below if you're with me on this, that 3D needs to come back. And Avatar did it best, okay? Now that that's out of the way, the hovercraft and the helicopters fly between the floating mountains. The bad guys close in. The Na'vi hold position, hiding until the perfect moment to attack. And at that right moment, the Na'vi ride in on the Banshee and horseback. The Banshee come down on the choppers and the hovercrafts. They take out quite a bit of aircraft. A lot of casualties happen in this very epic scene. The grounds team, they're riding in on the dire horses. They fight soldiers that are in exoskeleton amp suits. Jake then gains the attention of the colonel in the sky. He gets his attention and draws him to where Trudy is, where she lays on some heavy firepower in the helicopter. Neytiri flies way too low to where the Banshee takes a hit. She falls to the ground and she sees the wreckage on the ground. The grounds team is not doing so hot. Sute attacks an aircraft. He takes out a lot of soldiers before getting shot and falling out of the chopper. Trudy's chopper gets shot down and explodes. Dire horses run through the woods in a blaze of flames. All hope seems to be lost. Neytiri hides behind a tree as soldiers close in, and they get closer and closer as she contemplates attacking. While Jake advises against it, she pulls her bow back in a Na'vi fashion, about to release the arrows, and then she hears a sound coming from the trees. It's the Hammerhead Titanothere! They have come to protect their homes, and they do. They kill many. Neytiri believes this to be a sign of Ewa hearing Jake's prayers from the night before. Now Banshees fly in and help out, and even Viper Wolves. Neytiri also comes across the Thanator at this point. The airships close in on the Tree of Souls. Jake flies above them, throws a grenade into the ship's engine, taking it down before they could drop off the bombs. It works. The ship goes down. Next, he goes to the colonel's ship and he does the same thing. Before the hovercraft goes down, the colonel hops in the amp suit and jumps out of the exploding ship. He lands on the ground safely and pursues Jake's body in the trailer. The boss battle has begun. If this was a video game, this would be the point where I would die so many times. Now, before the colonel can take out the trailer, in comes Neytiri on the back of the Thanator. In the script, James Cameron calls the Thanator the most awesome land predator the universe has ever conceived. This thing could eat a T-Rex and have an alien for dessert. It is a black six-limbed panther from hell with an armored head and massive distensible jaws. And Quaritch kills it. Yeah, I mean, he stabs it. I get he's in an exoskeleton, but come on. It seems unlikely and way too easy. If this thing can eat a T-Rex, it's too easy. It's way too easy. Anyway, after he takes out the Thanator, he's about to stab Neytiri, who is trapped under the beast and can't move. But Jake appears. Now at this point, we get the battle that this entire movie has led up to. Jake gets the giant blade out of the colonel's hands and jumps into the air, puncturing the colonel's suit, making him need a mask to breathe. The colonel goes for Sully's body in the simulator, breaking the window, allowing the poisonous air to fill the trailer. Sully's body is struggling while the colonel is attacking the Avatar. Neytiri breaks free from under the down Thanator and puts 2 arrows, boom, boom, through the colonel's chest. The antagonist falls to the ground. Now, I get that the colonel dies here, but would the amp suit fall over just like it does? Does it just know that its operator died and falls for dramatic effect? Wouldn't the suit just kind of stay standing? It didn't get hit with the arrows. The colonel did, right? So either this suit is his avatar or the robot's going for an Oscar. I don't know which. It's very interesting. Neytiri races to Jake's avatar and realizes that he's not waking up, so she goes to the trailer and sees Jake's real body for the first time. She gives him a mask to breathe. He's gonna be all right. The two embrace. The next shot we see is the humans all being sent back to the dying Earth, with only a few chosen to stick around. Jake's birthday has come and he's having a party at the Tree of Souls. This is where his consciousness gets put into the avatar permanently, and the movie ends there. Avatar was the winner of 3 Academy Awards as well as nominated for Best Motion Picture. Now you don't have to go rewatch the movie before Avatar Way of Water hits theaters December 16th. There you have it, guys. We have reached the end of the movie tour. Thanks so much for sticking around. I'm your tour guide, Vic Velazquez. If you've enjoyed this, please do subscribe. This is my first video on this channel, and if you think it has potential, I'd love to grow this channel with you in my tour cart. That's all for now, so please see your way out. This is a close set. Bye, guys.